Greetings, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Collective Awakening Weekly. My name is Carrie Konyha, and this is a weekly energy update and activation to support our collective journeys in spiritual awakening, healing, and empowerment. I'm coming to you today from my actual session room at my healing center in Sedona, Arizona. This week, we're coming into the final glide path, approaching into the full moon partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. So in this episode, we're going to explore the energies, how the lunar eclipse is likely to influence us collectively, and I'm going to share insights on how we can best harness the energies to support whatever our individual intentions are in moving forward in our life. So the first thing that I want to say is that this full moon eclipse is aligned with the North Node. In astrology, the North Node is connected to our sense of purpose. It's what compels us forward in life. It's like our metaphoric North Star. So with the lunar eclipse aligning with the North Node, things that have to do with our sense or feeling about what brings meaning and purpose in our life is definitely going to be being highlighted. Now, this is coming along with a few other astrological transits that are significant in the ways that we can harness the energy of the lunar eclipse. So let me go ahead and talk a little bit about those before we get into the cards. So in these next few days leading up to the eclipse, we have three celestial bodies. We have the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio opposing Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus always wants to expand, while Scorpio is all about depth of connection. So these next few days leading up to the eclipse is really bringing us into this sort of expanding and deepening, which can almost be seen as like a metaphoric birthing contractions. It might feel a little bit like growing pains that we're having in our life right now, where we might feel like we're taking one step forward, three steps back, but ultimately we are making progress, albeit it might feel like a little bit slow going right now on the progress level. Much of the transformation that's happening now is more like on the inner dimensions of us. It's not so much a time of really forcing things into manifestation. I mean, I don't really know a time that is good for forcing things into manifestation, but we might be compelled to force things because of some of the transits and aspects that are happening with Mars. But it's best to sort of redirect our energies inward, tending to our self-care. So this Taurus moon is also lining up with Mars opposing Uranus, which can trigger impulsive emotional reactions. So if you watched last week's episode, I talked about with Mercury being in Scorpio, it's important to think before we speak. We still have that, but this week it's also think before we act. With the energy shining in as we're building into this full moon lunar eclipse, again, we are going to be feeling a little bit edgy, a little bit triggery emotionally, and that's partially because of this moon in Taurus lining up with Mars opposing Uranus. So we just really want to be aware, have it on our radar, have it in our mind to resist making rash, hasty, or emotionally triggered decisions or reactions. So just be aware of that. I would say that that's the main challenge that we have coming up over the next few days as we're building into towards the full moon. But then there's some positive astrological aspects happening over the next few days, some trines that I'm going to share with you in a moment that really show us how to most harmoniously and most consciously move through the triggery energy around the eclipse. So the first thing that I want to mention is that we do have Venus trining Uranus, which inspires adventurousness. We're all going to be feeling a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more of a desire to sort of break the mold of our habitual habits and routines in life, experience new things, get out and about, be a little bit more social, doing things that you don't usually do, sort of thinking outside the box, acting outside of the box type of energy, trying new things. So that's a really good use of the energy now, is adventure and exploration. Also, we have Mercury trining Neptune. Mercury is still in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and this inspires creative expression. So this is a really good time where we can actually make some headway regarding creative projects of ours that might require some form of expression, whether it's through speaking, writing, poetry, music, movement, dance, art, painting, drawing. This is a time where we're naturally feeling inspired to express ourselves creatively. And creative expression actually is very connected to ancient shamanic healing modalities for integrating healing experiences. This lunar eclipse is definitely triggering us into opportunity for healing and renewal. So harnessing this trine energy happening between Mercury and Neptune to find creative ways to express yourself will actually be really not only therapeutic and harmonizing, but empowering, especially with that full moon on the North Node, triggering our sense and feeling about what brings meaning and purpose in our life. Expressing yourself creatively in alignment with that will enable us to really move through this portal of transformation in very conscious, loving, and empowering ways. The good news is that we have the sun moving into Sagittarius on the 21st, and we have Mercury moving into Sagittarius on the 24th, which is going to bring us into a whole new expansive energy of inspired possibilities on the other side of this lunar eclipse. Riding the wave as consciously as possible, tending to your self-care, really tapping into any senses and feelings that you are instinctively connecting with regarding your sense of soul fulfillment on your path, that which brings meaning and purpose, and allowing yourself to sort of playfully explore modalities of creative inspiration as a way of sort of bridging the gap of where you feel you might be now and where you want to be. This is also a really good week to be in the mindset or the awareness of consciously feeding our energy fields with uplifting, inspiring, enthusiastic thoughts and feelings, really tending to harmonizing our luminous bodies, the different facets of our energy field, our emotional body, our mental body, our spiritual body, and our physical body. Maybe do like a little bit of a scan for yourself and look to see where you might have less than harmonized energies hanging out in your energy field, and work on those. Work on optimizing and harmonizing and uplifting yourself on those levels. Let's go ahead and get into the cards and see what else wants to come up. Okay, here we go. I want to start by taking a moment to thank all of you for all of your support. Those of you who have been donating to my channel, I really appreciate this. Obviously, I do this on my free time in between clients because I love anything that I can do to contribute to light in the world and contribute to supporting our collective journeys is a part of my sense of meaning and purpose. And I have so much gratitude for those of you who appreciate what I'm doing. In case you didn't know, I do have a link down in the comments below that will take you to my PayPal where you can make a donation if you would love. Today, I'm going to be working with a tarot spread that is specifically aligned with the lunar eclipse. So let me just pick some cards here. We're going to pick 5 all together. The first card that I'm selecting is showing what's being illuminated. What is being illuminated within us this week? And it's the Raven, and it says darkness looms on the horizon. So we're going to take this symbolically. We're not going to take this as darkness as in negative or bad. We're going to take this as darkness as in delving into the great mystery of life. All of these energies that we've got going on in Scorpio right now do compel us inward. They do compel us to nurture our inner shadows, right? Our shadow side. This is a really good time for shadow work healing, which I've been talking about really all month as we've been leading up to this eclipse. And the Raven energy is definitely indicating that. Also nurturing our feminine sides, tapping into our intuition and things of that nature. And so that's what's being illuminated. We might be being a little bit more aware of where our unintegrated shadow selves have been unconsciously sabotaging us. And so my best advice would be to find a way to do shadow work. For those of you who don't know, shadow work is one of my specialties. I've got a few different sessions that I offer that are specifically around shadow work and healing with shadow with shamanic healing modalities and practices. You can check that out on my website. Next card we're looking at is talking about earth energies, what's manifesting, and it's the Maiden, and it says a new relationship blossoms. So as I've said, this eclipse is triggering things having to do with matters of the heart, our values, our self-worth, relationships, and things like that. So I see this card as being connected to a new relationship that's blossoming within ourselves, which is going to mean a new way of us relating to the physical world around us, the environment around us. So as this is showing up as the earthly energy, which is what's manifesting, on the other side of the shadow work comes us shifting into a higher frequency, a higher vibration, which positively influences what we're experiencing in the physical world of form and how things are manifesting for us ultimately. So the next three cards I'm going to read together, and it's talking about the pathway of the lunar eclipse as it's coming in, and then the day of the eclipse and how we're transitioning out of it. So I feel connected to this card, and this card. Oh my gosh, awesome. So the gate, okay? So as we're coming into this lunar eclipse over the next few days, the gate says that a barrier keeps us from our goals. So it's up to us individually to discern and discover through shadow work, through meditation, through going into the depths of your silent knowing, and really discovering for ourselves individually, what is my personal barrier that's keeping me from my goals? It can be a thought, a belief system, a particular energy that you've been hanging on to, things that you've been hanging on to that aren't aligned with you anymore, that maybe you need to clear the space of. So this is like a really clear message about empowerment practices that you can do in the next few days coming up to the eclipse. Having self-reflection, contemplation, meditation. What are the barriers keeping me from my goals, and how can I transition through them? So the day of the actual eclipse, the spider card is coming up. And it says, be meticulous and patient. In shamanism, spider is a weaver of magic and creativity. So harnessing the power of creativity and creative expression, as I talked about earlier with that Neptune transit that's happening, is a good way to move through the energy of the eclipse. Being meticulous in your awareness, being meticulous in the attention you're placing on your self-love, your self-worth, your self-value, and being loving and patient and kind and compassionate with yourself and others through the process. This is a highly transformative time for all of us, and we all could use a little bit of loving compassion right now, which brings us to the energy that's on the other side of the eclipse, the lunar eclipse. So that's going to bring us in like to this coming weekend. Rejuvenation and fulfillment is connected to the chalice. This reminds me of the Ace of Cups energy. So it's rebirth, renewal, fresh energies activating on the emotional sensing feeling level. This is being open and receptive to positive life force energy, which will support that rejuvenation. Be open to your own heart's calling, because that's what's going to guide you in the direction of fulfillment. What is my own heart's calling compelling me towards? And if you do the work ahead of time, right, around the North Node energy, what am I feeling called to as far as my meaning and purpose? What's holding me back from that? What shadow work do I need to do? What new relationship do I need to have with myself in order to shift into higher vibrational reality? And how can I harness the power of creativity and creative expression as my tool? So amazing, so powerful. I'm loving these messages. Let me know in the comments below how it's all resonating with you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All my love, blessings, and namaste. Stay tuned. There's more videos around the corner, and I will see you in the next one.